In other videos, you've probably heard me make reference to the big three, which is the Trend Red, the Power Red, and the Swing Zion. When those three are together, either at the bottom or at the top, they pull together. I shouldn't say they pull together. They give us a signal, or maybe three signals, that tell us everything is lined up and that the reaction will be strong, because a big three at the bottom is a strong uptrend, and sometimes you'll have 3 to 4 days up and then some consolidation or congestion, and other days you'll have, and then it'll go up a few more days after that. And at other times it'll go up, 7 or 8 days straight. The point is, those forces that the big three pick up seem to be able to recognize the pulling together of several powers in that location, indicating that when they turn around, it's going to be a strong movement or a long movement. Zip in a big three down, Zip Zion and said that wrong. Swing Zion and Swing Pink are interchangeable. Sometimes Pink is lowest and sometimes Zion is lowest. On a big three on a peak, we have Power Pink and Blue that are often highest rather than the Power Red. And I think if you understand the system at all, you understand the deep cycle aspects of Power Pink and Power Blue, and would logically understand that they would record a high cycle. High cycle being over zero, low cycle being under zero. And so when we think of the big three, or the big four, which is in the case of Zip Red at zero, when we think of the big three in a bottom going up, and oftentimes Zip Red is not at zero, but Zip Yellow is at zero. So either one of those can be at zero in a big three reversal price up pattern. In a big three or big four, recognize that the big four on a peak often has the same thing. Zip Yellow is real high. If it's not on the high end, then Zip Red is way up there, and then it's basically a Zip 4 calculation or consideration. When those three or those four are on a peak, then we have usually a situation where you have several days down. I have that example in 3 different vertical lines here with I'll refer to them as the big three, even though, like down here in the power chart, the Power Red in this case is at 1.96, but excuse me, but the Power Pink is at 10. So we're going into a high cycle, at least at this point, and the Power Red being a position indicator, being above zero, is all that it needs, and 2 for Power Red is good. There's no problem with that at all. So as I think I was effective in telling you, I'll rephrase that again. The power pink can take the place of the power red when we're talking about the big three or the big four on a peak. And in a couple of examples here, we have that situation. The red vertical line shows us a trend red in a low angle. I think it's down, but I'm going to check. No, it's in a trend red is at 67.72 and 68. So it's just in a low angle up. So trend red is in a low angle up on this red vertical line. And on the zip chart we have a pink green top in position to reverse. The requirement there is that pink must be next to green before it can reverse, and this is one of the classic ones because the others, the red and the blue, are much lower. Red, blue, yellow are much lower, and gray. Normally when this happens, all four are down. In this case here we have divergence with the zip blue coming down to the yellow. And so what ends up happening the next day after this red vertical candle is a strong gap down. And so it's not always we're not always able to effectively pick up when a candle is going to gap down. If we analyzed it a lot closer, maybe we could pick up on the probability that we should take it. And because it's got such a high upper tail on the red line, vertical red line day, it wouldn't hurt to take that position at the end of the day. But we immediately, on the day after the red candle, the day after the red vertical line, we immediately run into a red spike with the zip red at 16 and zip yellow at 56. So that's at that point we're going back up, and actually because of the congestion, the price hardly moves at all. We got two doji candles on the 2 days after the red vertical line. But the information is there, and it identifies that for us. And in an example in the green line example, we have the trend red highest, and we have, bring this down, we have the power pink highest, and we have, in this case here, we have zip yellow highest. Zip Zion is almost there at the highest. And it being there, it pretty much qualifies for the same thing. Again, especially when we have zip green at 100 and zip yellow on this day is at 91. So the aspects as far as qualifying as a big three on a peak are there. We do have, or at least we see on the green line, that swing gray is continuing to climb, whereas swing pink is going down. So with the delayed visibility on the swing gray, meaning that a longer line, it takes a longer time for us to recognize the change. So it could go up tomorrow and still change, but we're not sure. In this case here we have a green flat top candle, or almost flat here. It's high 103.50, and it opened at oh no, excuse me, it opened lower than that. I was thinking flat top, flat bottom, lower green. In any case, at this point, I want to kind of go backwards here, because I want to look at the day before, the 2 days before that, because in these 2 days before that we have exactly the same thing that we need for a big 3 on a peak. Trend red is up, the pink, power pink is highest, Zip Zion is highest, and so, oh, we're on a red peak, it should be going down. But when we see the Zip green at 100, we obviously need to take notice. And of course, when you're sitting on this day, you're thinking, hey, I've got a big 3 on a peak, but I've also got a Zip green. And keep in mind, the reason I say this is because Zip green has an extended pattern to it. It can last for 4, 5, 6, 7 days. The red peak is wham, it's up, it's down, 1 day. And so when you run into a Zip green at 100, you have to place that in your mind that this could potentially continue. And if you've investigated the pattern types under the pink-green tops, you will find that there's 5 or maybe 6 key patterns that give us the signal for the day that the pink-green top will go down. And so when you hit a Zip green at 100, you need to recognize that there could be an extension to that, and it's real obvious to and easy to pick up, because typically we are going to wait until next day to buy our reversal pattern, because this is when the big 3 on a peak is a reversal pattern down, the pink green pattern, the green pink top pattern is a reversal pattern down. When power pink is on a peak, it's going to go down, you just don't know which day. And so, but next day it opens up and it gaps up. And what's the basic candle theory premise that we have? When it gaps up, it goes up. And that's not always the case, but there's a good possibility for that. When we see that happen, we can immediately see that we have a low angle up trend red. And we have our second day in which, a second day of our green, pink, of our pink-green top, in which the Zip green is at 100. But we also have, all the other lines have gone up in the form of a peak, and have, in this case, your Zip yellow is at 96.9, your Zip gray is at 98.5, your Zip red is at 97.9, and your Zip pink is at 96. So you can see all 3 of those indicator lines are above the pink, which then disqualifies the pink-green pattern from going down the next day. And I'm not sure I made that idea clear in other videos, but you need to recognize that, because the 90, I don't know, a huge percentage of the time, a very high probability, above 90%, maybe closer to 98 or 99 times out of 100, the Zip pink is directly under the Zip green, and the Zip pink is continually climbing. Those are the normal rule identifications, which we call the rules. I've got the thing titled Rules, Identification Rules of Different Patterns. And those are the key parameters that establish when a pink-green top will go down next day. So we know on this day here it's not going down. So now we move on to the next day, and now I'll expand this a little bit because it's harder to see. Now we have the pink-green going up, the Zip pink going up again, and the other lines all going down. And at the end of the day, on the green vertical line, we're in a red with a red doji candle. And if we look we can see that the trend red is in a another low angle up pattern, which doesn't happen too often. And so when we see that, we can recognize that there is a significant bullish factor here in the power that we're working with, in the market forces that we're working with. And that's proven out the next day, when the day after my original line is now a day in which we have a green candle with trend red crossing under the green line, which is a little bit unusual to have a green candle with a cross under like that. But we also have zip green and pink in a day when they are qualified to go down. And so if when you're looking back at this day here, it's not positive. I mean, there's different factors that you look at. I mean, this is one of those that could be marginally obtained if you were trying to go, oh, this is absolutely going to do something. And in this case here, when on the next day after this green candle, when it gaps down, you're thinking that yes, it will in fact gap down. We always got to keep in mind the zip gray line, because the zip gray is your deep cycle. It tells you when the cycle is actually going to go down. And although the zip gray line is not perfect by any means, it gives us a reasonably good handle on when things are going down. Now, even though this day, I don't know that I would have bought on this day, or I should say gone short on this day. However, it is a good indication, because you do have the zip red, which has dropped significantly, and it is in a right leg lower pattern, which can and often does go down. And zip red here is at 79, so it's not quite as low as I'd like to see it. If it's in the 60s, then it's almost for sure. But I might hang on and wait till the next morning to see where this is, and then just play that action out for the day, because it gapped down, went down, not a whole lot, but it on this day here, it opened at 102.44. It had a low of 101.44. Isn't it strange how the market deals in dollar bills? Then it had a high of 103.50, and with the understanding that the market, or with the trend red crossing under the green, which is indicative of the first day of a downtrend. And so at this point, I would definitely get into the market, and especially I would get in at this point before the close, because we're in a tall green candle, and the green candle is above the previous day's high on what is, the indicators tell us, is a downtrend. So we got price divergence here, and so you know, who knows exactly for sure? Absolutely no one. But the indicators do tell us a lot. On the Scion line, we have some similar, well, maybe not similar conditions, but we have the trend red highest. In this case here, we have the zip red has gone way down, but the zip yellow is up. The power yellow, and in this case, is highest, but power pink is right up there with power yellow, and also the zip Zion is highest, with the exception of the swing gray being the deep cycle in a high pattern that is higher than the swing gray. And again, I think you've heard me say that we don't use the swing gray, because technically the swing gray as a highest line, because swing gray is technically a slow moving line. So what we have here on the cyan line, vertical line, is swing gray highest. Swing yellow, power yellow is highest, but pink is right next to it, so that pretty much qualifies as a highest. And in our Zip Zion, to qualify for 4 highest, it's close. Your pink is actually the highest, and it could theoretically go down next day, but not likely, because it's the first day of the Zip green, of the pink green top. You can get pinpoint green tops, and this does qualify for that. And so you would want to watch out for that the next morning. It's not something you would buy tonight in the way of a short. And so you wait next day, and what happens on the following day? It gaps up. Looks like it probably went down first and then back up at the end of the day. Not positive that, you'd have to check that out. But going back to the original day on this one here, it's not a classic pattern by any means. The big 3 or big 4, however you want to classify it, on a pink has a few different varieties of how they function, but you can read them. You can see what the outcome is going to be fairly easily. If you're just getting started, maybe you'd say, oh, I can't read those. But as you learn this system more, you'll be able to see the themes running through the system. Just like the wide lines are the slow-moving lines, and the fast lines are the narrow lines. There's themes that run through the entire system. 1 pattern themes in the gap categories, and 2 pattern themes in the gap categories, both up and down in both cases. So there's themes that run through the system that you need to become familiar with if you are not familiar with them. So really encourage you, if you are just happen to just catch this on one of your first videos that you looked at, continue to investigate, check out the system. The sensitive indicators are truly the heart of the system.